Okay. Dulcie, should I start? I think I should. It's 1 o'clock, so I'm going to get rolling. Yeah? Okay, good. Thumbs up. Hi, everybody. Jane Spencer here, Remax Alliance. And I've been a realtor for, I don't know, a little over 7 years. I love new construction, and I absolutely love helping people buy a piece of land so they can build their custom home, because it's just, you know, people have been dreaming about that forever. They really want what they want, and they're ready to do it. So that's one of the most fulfilling parts of being a realtor, is helping people buy that land. So let's get rolling. As with any real estate purchase, the very first thing that you have to do is cross that financial hurdle. Figure out how you're going to make the purchase and how that's going to work. So there's lots of ways that you can buy land. I'm going to talk about probably the 4 most popular-ish ways to do it. Cash. Cash is king. If you have cash, that's great. It's the most flexible and easy. You don't have to, you know, deal with anybody else. You can just write that check at the closing table. So that's really the easiest way. But one thing that I do want to caution you is that if it's going to completely tap you out, then that might not be the way that you want to go, because when you're working with a builder on a custom home, they're going to require a pretty substantial cash deposit. So you're going to need to keep some money in reserves to also pay your deposit to your builder. Also, during the building process, if you do a lot of big and expensive change orders, that might also be a little bit of money out of pocket too. So you just have to balance that, the cost of the lot versus having enough in reserves as you continue through the process. The next option could work for you if you have a good relationship with your financial advisor, wealth manager. Then a loan management account might be a resource available to you. Basically, a loan management account is where you borrow against your investments without actually selling them. And so that can really free up a lot of cash for you. The next option would be to take out a land loan for part of the purchase price. More than likely, your lender is going to require 25% down, but that's, you know, that can be a nice small number on some lots. So that could be an option. Occasionally, there are lending options that are a land loan and a construction loan all rolled into one product. And that could work for you too. But you have to do a lot of work with your builder before you start that. You have to have the house fully designed to do that option. The next option could be using a HELOC. You may have one already in place, or you may apply for one, but borrowing against that equity in your current home could also be a good financial tool to purchase your land. Actually, though, you know, I was on the BizWest Summit, Real Estate Summit this morning, and heard something that I actually hadn't heard yet in our COVID era, which is HELOCs, like applying for HELOCs is tightened up somewhat, just a little bit. So, you know, you just have to check with your lender to see what's available to you at this time. Okay, so that's kind of the super quick how to get the money to buy your land. And I'm going to pause here for just 1 second and see if anyone has any questions. I don't, okay, I hear from the background, no questions yet. Great, then let's keep rolling. Okay, so working with your realtor, you've identified a piece of land that looks attractive to you. It's the size you want, it's in a neighborhood that you desire, or you know, or you can build an outbuilding or whatever. It has the views, the epic Colorado views, and you would really like to make an offer, or you're already under contract. Let's talk about some of the due diligence that goes along with this land purchase that's going to make it attractive to you to build your home on. Okay, so these are some of the things that may or may not be included in the purchase price of your land. Soils report, survey, raw water fees, water and sewer tap fees, and if you're on a septic system, a perk test and or design for that system. First, let's talk about soils. This is really important in Colorado as well. I'm sure it's important everywhere, but especially here with our expansive soils. Each home has to have a foundation engineered to that specific site. Oftentimes, if somebody has owned the land for a while, they've already done a soils test, they didn't build their home, but they're willing to share that soils test. If they don't have a soils test to share, then you'll want to get one of those done when you're under contract and make the purchase contingent on the findings of that test. Typically, tests range from $1,200 to $1,500. Probably from the time you call them to the time they get out there and get the report back in, probably about 3 weeks to get a test. But it's going to significantly impact the cost of your foundation. So the least expensive foundation is just a spread footer. And many homes are built on spread footers. A more expensive foundation is an overdig. So you have to excavate an even bigger hole and then potentially backfill with dirt that you bring in, or just compact the dirt that's there. The most expensive kind of foundation in our area is a home that has to be built on caissons or piers with an engineered floor. And if you have what people call hot soils, then that is going to be what you're going to have to do. So the consideration there is that, depending on the size of your foundation, that's going to determine the amount of caissons that you need, and it's going to add up pretty quick. So the thing that you need to really think about when you're looking at the soils test is the home site so incredible and have everything that you need that if you do have to do an expensive foundation, is that extra cost worth it? So like, let's say that that your foundation is going to cost $20,000 more than a spread footer foundation. Is that going to work for you, or is that going to cut into your appliance budget, the finishes that you want, or any of the other fun things that you've been dreaming about? And so you have to balance that, like the cost of the location versus the cost of all the things that you're going to want to put in the home that you've been dreaming about for a long time. Okay. Did I mention? Yeah. So basically, typically when you buy a home, you have an inspection period. And typically when I'm helping people buy land, the soils test is essentially the inspection. So the sale is contingent on that inspection. And, like if you really won't build it, if it's an expensive foundation, then you can get out of purchasing that piece of land and still get your earnest money back. Okay, next section, survey. If you're in a platted neighborhood and all the pins can be found, then the survey is not necessarily going to be a crucial deal breaker. And in fact, it's one of the less expensive things that you can get done. Tests are around $800, although if you need a topo addition on that, then it's going to go up pretty significantly. If you don't have a survey, then you will, before the footers are poured, you will have to have a setback inspection to make sure that you're building within the building envelope. This is a big one. Raw water fees. They're just insanely expensive. Right now, a share of Colorado Big Thompson water, I just heard this yesterday, is $62,500. Water districts here base your portion of water on those share prices. So you can see that this is literally one of the biggest single line items in the cost of a custom home. So if you can find a piece of land where the water is already included, I can almost guarantee you that it's a better value than another lot if you have to pay for it out of pocket. So I guess though the difficult thing right now is that the majority of lots that were developed that actually included water fees have already been built upon. So these are becoming very, very rare. So you just have to prepare yourself to have that really expensive line item. Oh, one other note about that, that last little bullet point there. If it's not included, then you'll pay for that when the permit is pulled, but you may not want to wait. You may want to go ahead and pay it, because with those prices going up rapidly, if you're buying this piece of land and waiting for a couple of years, then it may be of benefit for you to pay for the water share now, even if you're going to build later. Once you've paid for that share of water, then you'll also pay water and sewer tap fees, basically a plant investment fee, and then for the actual meter and install. Typically, I would say average, those are probably $15,000 to $20,000. So not insignificant, but definitely less than a share of water. If you're not on district water or sewer, then you'll have to pursue well and septic. With a septic system, you'll have to have a perk test, and the septic system will be designed on the amount of bedrooms in the home. The Larimer County Health Department is involved in that. Obviously, if you're in Weld, then it's Weld, but the public health will be involved in that design and all of that. They'll have to give the okie dokie on that. For a well, that's more common in mountain homes. And, you'll have to obviously drill a well and install a pump. Probably, I don't know, that could be a $20,000 to $30,000 line item. There are a few handful of lots, for example, that were in the High Park fire, where there used to be a residence, and so there's a well already in place. If that's the case, then you'll need the well permit number, and you would want to do a well inspection just to see how, if it's still running, what all the quality and gallons per minute. Okay, so let's take a look at this little comparison chart just to see how some of these fees affect the total purchase price of land. All right, so I created this chart probably a little less than a year ago when I was working with some clients who were looking for their perfect home site. So you'll see in this top line here, hopefully you can see my cursor, you'll see what the initial asking price was of each lot. And then I've dropped in some numbers. So for example, this one on Barn Owl Court, the water source is City of Windsor, and those were actually paid in full. So boom, that's great. However, that particular home site will need a septic system because it's a big lot and it's not on city sewer. So you could count probably $18,000 to $20,000 in a septic system. So yes, that's a very expensive piece of land, but the initial price didn't jump up as much as some of these others. Now let's take a look over here on this most affordable piece of land over here. Its initial asking price was $155, but then you have those just went up about the time that I created the spreadsheet. You see that raw water fee is very expensive, $47.5, plus a plant investment fee, plus a septic system. So all of a sudden, that land price jumped up a lot. And the other two are kind of in the middle, although this one here in High Point also had very expensive water fees. Okay, let me see. Nikki or Dulcie, do we have any questions out there? I think we do. Yeah. Water break. This just in. All right, I have. Okay, so the first question is, how often do you recommend going ahead with a bad soil report? You know, that's I would advise people that is totally up to you. It depends on what your budget is. If you're willing to kind of absorb the impact of that extra money, because you know, if the location and what you want to do with it warrants it, then you should move ahead. And I'd say, well, okay, so my husband's a builder, and he I'd say at least half the time, maybe a little bit more, there's almost always an overdig or a caisson situation. So, you know, you could move on, but you might not find, you simply might not find something where you want to be that has ideal soils. So you just have to kind of know that going in. I hope that helped. All right. Oh, on the loan, okay. On the loan management account, let me see if you'll share your information with Nikki or Dulcie via the chat feature or the text. I'm not sure. I think they're fielding these via Facebook. But if you leave your contact information, I'll send you a cut sheet on what that loan management account looks like and some other kind of general information on that. All right. Okay, if you end up not building, can you make dollars on the raw water if you sell? Okay, so like, yeah, let's say, okay, yeah, you buy a piece of land, you pay for the raw water. When you resell it, you just need to, you can do it one of two ways. You can either have a more expensive asking price and essentially just include the cost that you've paid for that water in it. And that's most people, I would say, do it that way. Or whoever lists it for you, they can put the listing price in at a lower price and then put in the notes that the purchaser will be responsible for paying that raw water fee on close. So there's kind of a couple ways you can do it, but definitely I would say that if you pay for the water now, you will get your money. You will get your money back on that. All right, cool. Okay, let's move on to some other home site considerations that are going to impact your budget. Okay, so those are basically the majority of the land that I'm talking about. Obviously, I'm not talking about farm and ranch land today. That's a very different thing. But for most of the people that I help, and for somebody building, you know, like their custom home, oftentimes it's in a neighborhood with an HOA that has minimum size requirements and architectural guidelines that are clearly lined out. Those neighborhoods will also have landscaping requirements. We're going to talk just for a second about how the type of lot affects your budget and what to look for, location of utilities, and also setbacks. All right, so on architectural guidelines, you know, those are going to dictate what style of homes can be built. Here in Colorado, we have a lot of kind of Colorado contemporary, sometimes mountain lodgy. You know, there's definitely a wide range of styles that most neighborhoods allow you to build. The minimum size, I would say that I generally don't see neighborhoods with less than an 1,800 square foot ranch. That's usually, you know, most neighborhoods, it's at least 1,800 square feet. And then in a second, we'll look at the spreadsheet, that spreadsheet again, up to like even 2,500 for a ranch. And those are above grade square footages. So then your basement can be whatever size you like. Here in Colorado, most people building custom still build a full basement or a mostly full basement. Obviously, there's also minimums for 2-story. Sometimes they give like the entire above grade 2-story square footage, and other neighborhoods say at least 1,500 on the main, and then upstairs can be however big you want. How much architectural detail, exterior architectural detail will be required? That's a biggie. And then how many garage spaces will be required? I only add that I'd say that the majority of custom home neighborhoods that I'm talking about, you're going to have at least a 3-car garage, but that's probably what you want anyway. So, okay, let's take a look back at this spreadsheet again and how the square footage affects building cost. So you'll see this one here on Barn Owl Court, a ranch has to be at least 1,800 square feet. Here in High Point, it has to be 2,350. On Signal Court, at least 2,000 square feet. And then on Taliesin, in the executive neighborhood of the Hill at Cobb Lake, it has to be at least 2,500 square feet. So let's look at what that looks like. I did a little bit of research for this presentation, pulling data from custom homes that have sold since, or actually new construction. They weren't all custom. It was a mix of production builder and custom homes that have sold since January in the $600,000 and up range. And the average finished square foot average was $270 per finished square foot. I think it was more like, I think it was $220 total for total square footage, but for finished square foot, we'll say 270. So, okay, as I mentioned, Barn Owl Court was an 1,800 square foot ranch. Stone Chase had to be much bigger. It had to be 550 square foot more, which if you just do some quick and dirty math there, you'll see that that could potentially have, almost $150,000 budget impact. On Signal Court, a little bit less. And then on Taliesin, it's a much bigger home with a much bigger budget impact. Again, square footage, some people live and die by square footage. Some people are happier in a little more compact home. No matter what you do, you just need to know, do you want really big rooms? How many rooms do you need? What does that look like? So that will also obviously help inform you which of those minimums kind of suits your needs the best. Landscaping requirement. Many times custom homes are on big lots. They oftentimes don't have to be fully landscaped. Let's say you have a 2-acre lot in, like we'll say Belmont Farms. There might be an acre that you might have to have formal landscaping, and the rest can be left natural. So that can be a big impact. I would say in the custom home market, if you talk to landscape design firms, they're going to say count on probably 10 to 15% of your home's value for landscaping. Maybe a little bit more, depends on, again, what the guidelines might be. On a smaller lot, if you find a nice cozy lot, you might only need to plant 2 trees, have a little bit of sod, and have xeriscape. So all of those things would have to be discovered, especially if they're very important to you, if that cost is very important to you while you're discovering that neighborhood and under contract. Type of lot. Oftentimes, the dream is to have the nice big walkout basement with a huge deck and all of that, but that adds a lot. That can add a significant amount to your budget too. Obviously, a flat lot is probably the most affordable to build. Gently sloping might be nice because you can have some daylight in your basement, but without having as big an impact. But if you all of a sudden have a walkout deck that's 1,500 square feet and a big patio underneath it and all of that, those are definitely significant in your building cost. Oh, and this is the if you're going for an infill lot, I'm gonna bring this up because this is always a thing that comes up when my husband and other builders that I talk to are site planning. But can the foundation, when the home is being built, is the lot either big enough or is the neighborhood new enough and not built out that the foundation dirt can stay on site? It's not a huge thing, but it's just all these things add up to make the whole. If it has to be shipped out and brought back in, that's a lot of truck and labor. So it's just one of those things that you might consider when you're doing that. Utilities. How close are they to the home site? Will they require passage across a neighbor's parcel? And if you are on septic, where will that leach field be located that it won't disrupt what you want to do with your yard, your driveway, your outbuilding? If it's a big lot, that's why you have septic. I am going to tell a little story here. So there was a couple who was trying to buy a parcel of land in West Loveland. I'm trying to remember if it was somewhere out kind of close to Devil's Backbone. Beautiful executive neighborhood, gorgeous lot. It's just the whole Colorado package, right? So what they found out is that the utilities, I can't remember exactly which utility, this was not my client, this was somebody else in my office. The utilities were going to have to come across a neighbor's parcel. Well, I don't know how to say it any nicer, but the neighbor was basically going to shake them down for $50,000 for like passage across their parcel. So these are all things that you need to discover before you sign on the dotted line, when you're purchasing, before you purchase the land, when you're in the discovery phase. Setbacks. What are the minimum setbacks? That'll be determined by the master plan of the neighborhood. What size is the building envelope? And are there large easements that cut into this building envelope? How long will your driveway need to be? And do you need to install a culvert or a little bridge or anything like that? I'm going to go to this next slide and show you that when you're in this discovery phase and you get your information from the title company, you really, really want to read it. So here you'll see, this is Box Elder Heights up North Fort Collins. You'll see that this particular community has all of, if you can see my little cursor, you can see that the building envelopes are clearly defined. So you would have to build within that building envelope. And you'll also see the dashed lines for the easements and that kind of thing. Okay. Other neighborhoods definitely don't have the building envelope, but if you read the covenants and architectural guidelines, then you'll discover what those setbacks will need to be. Obviously, again, you'll see the easements and that kind of thing. And then, as always, on the first page of the plat map, in all the itty bitty little print, it gives you a ton of information about the neighborhood and the situation of the neighborhood and all of the expectations of the neighborhood. Sometimes in these notes, you'll see, for example, if fire service isn't close, like the fire department, you might see in these notes that a fire suppression sprinkler system will need to be installed. That's very important information. That's a driver of cost. You'll see just a ton of information like that in those notes. Okay. We're almost to the next section. Okay, let's go back up for a second and I'll pause here and see if there's other questions. I hear movement. Yep, hang on. Water break. No? Oh, no? No. Okay. All right. No questions. Okay. Oh, hey, I did have a thought while I was waiting now. Let's go back up to, this was a plat map for Westridge, which is in West Fort Collins off of Harmony Road. I had some clients purchase a parcel of land in there and recently moved in to their custom home. But one of the things on that was interesting was the property tax rate was very high. I think before the house was even built, the property taxes were somewhere over $8,000. I can't remember, which, you know, is extremely high. So if you're purchasing land and you're going to sit on it for a while, and that land is in a neighborhood that is substantially complete, the Larimer County could tax you as though a house were built there rather than on the lower property tax rate of empty land. So that's just another thought to throw out there. All right. So my last little bit that I'm going to cover is on finding a builder. And there are so many good custom builders here in Northern Colorado. There's just a really good building community here. There's good production builders too, but since we're kind of talking about custom today, I'll give them the custom builders a shout out. So basically what you're looking for is a level of professionalism and a proven track record. So good questions to ask are, how long have you been in business? How many projects do you do a year? What jurisdictions are you licensed in? And that's important because there is no one state builder license. Every jurisdiction has, you know, different requirements and different licensing. So make sure that they're licensed where you want to build. Are they insured? Are they a member of the HBA? Because if they are, it again just shows a level of professionalism and dedication to their craft. Do they have good relationships, good and long-standing relationships with their trade partners? What does that look like? I know, you know, that's, again, it's a really good community here at NOCO HBA. And it's just, you know, that's just one of those things, one of those ways that the guys and women too come together. Sorry about that. Women in building, go. Do they offer a written warranty, and will they be performing that service on warranty issues, or will it be a third-party vendor? I would say traditionally here, because custom homes are a relationship-based business, that those builders traditionally handle the warranty work themselves because they're proud of their work and they want you to be happy. More questions. Do you get a good feeling from them? You're going to be in a relationship with this person. You're going to be essentially dating for, you know, a year. So you really need to make sure that you get along with your builder and the team. Have you met any of the team? Who will be working on your project? Is the builder the project manager, or is there another person on staff that's the project manager that will be your main point of accountability? Who's the designer? How do you get along with the designer? How are they going to offer a fixed price on a home, or will it be time and materials? There's benefits to both. You know, a lot of people like the fixed budget because it's very predictable. Other people are willing to take a little bit more risk and do time and materials. How much customization is offered? Are you going to be starting with a stock plan? Are you starting from scratch? What does that design process look like? Both from the actual floor plan and also the finished design. What does all that look like? So those are just a few of the questions that that you should be asking about your builder. And then obviously timing issues and all of that kind of thing. But anyway, okay. I hope that's been helpful. Let me see if let me throw it back open to the floor and see if there's any other burning questions out there. And definitely, if you want a copy of these slides or anything, then just, yeah, send Nikki or Dulcie a little message and we'll get you some more information going. Hey, you know what? I don't have a list of the sponsors in front of me, but I'd really like to. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, okay. So the entire video will be on the website, and I'd really and truly like to give a shout out to all the sponsors. I don't have a list of them directly in front of me. I know, Dano, if you're out there, thank you. I know you're one of them. But thank you so much for taking part in NOCO HBA New Construction Month. We love it. We're here to serve, and any questions you have about any part of the custom home building, land buying, any of that, give a shout. Okay, take care.